Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Rundown Podcast. I'm your host, Abe Hicks, and my co-host, Dylan Kearns, and we're ready to talk some baseball with you. Dylan, my man, how you doing?
We're doing well. Baseball. My Cubs are playing your beloved Yankees this weekend,
They're
and
whooping them, too.
it's sad because I sat here and I thought back to the last time we played 2017 Wrigley Field,
Mm-hmm.
the sweep of the Yankees that had the 18 inning marathon the other night. That not the other night, back in 2017 on Sunday Night Baseball, and then this year it was the nice little 13 inning affair that took place last night with Jose Trevino with a walk off, and I was like, man, dude, it's we haven't been at Yankee Stadium since Masahiro Tanaka's rookie year, and we were kind of upset as Cubs fans, thinking like, "Yo, this dude is going to be legit." He was all right during his Yankee tenure. He was great his rookie year, but excited to be back at Yankee Stadium. Not excited about playing the Red Hot Yankees, who continue to pound everybody's ass, including ours this weekend.
Yeah, Massa was amazing. First off, Massa was everything the Yankees needed at the time. And yes, it is always fun kicking the Cubs' butt because we don't do it often because we don't see them often.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe we'll be as good as you someday, which it's going to be a while.
Give it a few years. Give it a few years. Speaking of things that have been but, no pun intended. Um, let's talk about some guys who have been not so good lately. And Dylan, who's that one guy for you who has been terrible lately?
I mean, I think we got to look at this as a whole. It's just strange how some guys have great years and then their career drops off. And I look at no one other than Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, this was a guy a few years ago who was an MVP candidate, right? He had that great end to his 2017 year, 2018 year that really transformed him to be
amazing.
an MVP candidate. Like he was legit. Like this guy was all over the place, but it seemed like just over the last few years, he's just sort of fallen off. It took him like the end of 2019. He started to fall off the face of the year. 2020 had a bad year. 2021 wasn't great. And here he is in 2022. He hit a home run today, but still 6 homers on the year. His average isn't great. This is a guy who just, he's struggling mightily. He hasn't had the glove ever. I mean, that guy's never been able to play defense. I think that's pretty obvious at that point. He can't throw. I think he tried gunning down a runner at Wrigley Field a few weeks ago, and his arm was just shot. So defensively, he brings you nothing. But at the plate, it seems like something isn't clicking for him because he used to be on time and nailed it. Like he was in the last few years, that guy was money. But over 2020, 2021, now here in 2022, it just seems like he hasn't been that great.
Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with him because I know early on, like after the year he won the MVP, he battled some injuries, but he's been healthy recently, right?
Yeah, he's been healthy. He's hitting 234 this year, 248 last year, 205 in 2020.
Yeah, he hasn't been good. He has not been good. That is interesting. Yeah, and maybe I should go back and say this segment is the players who dropped off, the players who fell off the earth instead of players who have been bad lately. But yeah, Dylan, you are correct.
Just to go back on here, 2018, the guy won the MVP, right? Yeah. He won the MVP in 2018. 2019, he was second in MVP voting with a 329 average, 44 yakums or placatas, as Mr. Carlos Pena would say on MLB Network. But 326, 329 in his first 2 years in Milwaukee. 2020 drops down to 205. Like, that's a big jump from 329 to 205. I get it. COVID shortened year.
Yeah, that's the COVID year.
Back. 2021, here's his chance at redemption. The guy's home run totals. He played 117 games, and he only hit 9 home runs. Yes. 9 home runs in 2021, and he hit 248. This year, he's up to 5 homers, but 234. The average is gone. It's weird.
He has 6 home runs, but yeah, the average is gone. And it looks like the power's going, too.
Yeah. This was a guy who was locked in once he got to Milwaukee.
You know what? Here's my opinion. This is why I think what happened. Usually we see with guys who have those breakout years, and this will apply to the next part we're going to talk about too, but those guys who have those breakout years, this first year when they come out, explode and take the year by storm, they may show that again the next season. But there comes a time and a point, and this goes with any sport, the league will figure you out. There will come a time, it may take a little bit, and I believe that pitchers, they figured out how to pitch the Christian Yelich.
Yeah, they did.
That's what I think.
That I guess no one else in that lineup really fears you.
That's
I mean,
true.
maybe Rowdy Teles, like back like in the good years of 18, 19, you had some nice pieces. The catcher there that was it Yasmani Grandal was
Yeah,
there.
Grandal.
You had Mike Moustakis, you had Ryan Braun. Like you had guys around you that like you couldn't really pitch around Christian Yelich.
Yep.
Now you sort of can, and I mean he's the one guy you can really game plan for. But I mean, it's just strange how his career was. I mean, this dude was 26, 27. You're thinking, all right, 28, 29. He's still in his prime. He's going to have great years. And he just absolutely shits the bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot like Christian Yelich, there's another player, former MVP and Rookie of the Year, who has just fallen hard on earth. And I don't know what happened. And his name is Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Obviously, defensively, he's still really good. He's still one of those top defensive players in baseball. Very versatile. Can put him anywhere in the outfield. Can put him at first base. But boy, that bat has disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. I mean, this guy was a former MVP. His rookie year, Dylan, he hit 39 home runs. 39 home runs. In 2018, he had a little bit of a dip. He had 25 home runs. But the following season, he came back, batted 305 and won an MVP. And then the COVID year happened, and then he's been really bad after that.
How
I
much
know.
can you
What were you gonna
go
say?
ahead? Yeah,
I
I
was
mean, how
last
much can
year.
you factor
Yeah,
into that 2020 year? Because I mean, that
that's
could
true.
have screwed both guys.
Maybe that is what screwed both guys because in 2021, I'm sorry, Cody Bellinger, he did get hurt. He only played 95 games. This year, he's only played 53 games. And he's only batting 206 with an OPS of 677. Like those
Yeah.
are tremendous drop offs. Like he is
Yikes.
not contributing to the Dodgers' success. Very minimal.
Yeah, I mean, it goes beyond that. Like, I mean, they got everybody in their lineup, like
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. Like, you got MVPs up and down the lineup, and he's probably the worst MVP on that team. Like, I mean, which is crazy because I mean, who has multiple MVPs on their roster? But
I
still,
know.
like Cody Bellinger not even contributing to their successes. I mean, I'd agree with that point. I mean, he's someone that really just took off early in his career and. Now it seems I think with him it's more of a problem for me. Yelich, we saw him have good years in Miami. We
Yeah.
saw him have great years in Milwaukee, and then he
Yeah.
sort of fell off as he got older.
Yeah.
Yelich or Bellinger's still young. Like
He is
Bellinger's
still
still
young.
a guy that's looking for that contract.
He's only
And the way he's
26.
performing, he's gonna get a minor league invite to spring training. The way he's playing, man. I mean, let's be honest here. Like maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but still, I mean, it's not big time. And he kind of reminds me when Yasiel Puig broke in. And I know Puig had
Oh,
28
that's a
homers
great
a few years.
comparison.
I mean, I know like Puig went 319 his rookie year. He
Yeah.
was in the MVP voting, finished 15th, but he was rookie of the year, second in that. He was an all-star in 2014 at the age of 23. But after that, like 11 homers, he dropped to 255, 263. Like, but then he had a few good years where the power came back.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just that overhyped Dodger prospect that everyone's like, let's go, let's get in line with. And it just sort of fell off. And that's how I feel with Bellinger right now.
And I think with him, obviously he has a unique batting stance and his
Yeah.
swing pattern, uh, like his launch angle. It's different, and I think pitchers finally figure that out. They learn to all right, let's throw this guy up in the zone where it'd be harder for him to go get his bat level to the ball, and I think that has contributed to a lot. Just pitchers and other teams figuring out how to pitch to a guy they finally got
Yeah.
tape on. So I don't know. Hopefully he could turn it around. Like you said, he is young. The problem is I don't know how much longer he has until his contract year.
Yeah.
Oh, he's eligible in 2024.
Oh, yeah. I
So
mean, he's still got another year after this to
yeah,
really. His arbitration, he's not going to make anything in arbitration because they're going to
no,
just offer him low ball shit. Which I mean, based on his last few years, I think you'd agree. Like 4 million's debatable. I
yeah,
think that's a good salary for someone
yeah,
who's hitting 206.
yeah. It's funny because we used to view the Dodgers like, oh, you would circle Cody Bellinger in the lineup, be like, oh, don't want to pitch to that guy. Oh, let's be careful around this guy. Now Cody Bellinger is like non-existent on the
Yep.
Dodgers roster. You forget he's there because it's all about Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Max Muncy. Like, I genuinely forget that Cody Bellinger is on that team sometimes.
And the most underrated player you never mentioned was Justin Turner. Like
And
that guy,
Justin
he's
Turner.
just consistent as hell. I know he's having a
Yeah,
down year this year, but he's in his late 30s, so I'd agree with like obviously that dude's been a beast since he's gotten to LA. And I
yeah.
mean, I'd honestly I'd say Justin Turner's a better ball player than Cody Bellinger is right now.
I would agree. I would agree. Now we're gonna go from players who have been bad to teams who have been really good, and two of those teams are the Atlanta Braves and Toronto Blue Jays. But who do you want to start with here? Who do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays. And
Let's
this
do
is a
it.
team before the start of the year, right? I mean, you talk about Toronto, everyone had World Series aspirations and everything going on around that ball club. Like, hey, they could potentially win the World Series. A lot of people picked them to win the division. Not a lot of people believed in Boston. They were fearing Tampa's strategy would pay off, the nerds trying to get into first place. And no one really had the Yankees, but here's the Yankees right now in first
It's
place.
true.
But Toronto, I mean, the way with the expanded playoff, the way expanded wild card, 3 wild card teams, I think they're a
Yeah.
lock to get into the postseason. But they have a nice schedule right now. They're playing Detroit, beating up on some bad teams. Baltimore's mixed in there. A couple of bad teams coming up on their schedule to where they can really command a division lead, and that's what they've been
Mm,
doing. I mean, they're 10 games over 500 right now with a win today. And they called up Gabriel Moreno, a nice catcher that everyone's been talking about. He got to meet with Miguel Cabrera, Venezuelan native. He was crying before the game. That was just a great story there. But
yeah.
looking at the Blue Jays as a whole, like their pitching is definitely something that, I mean, they got Manoah, the big fat guy who throws strikes, and then the big lefty fat guy, Hyunjin Ryu, coming back from injury.
Yeah.
He's been okay, but Jose Barrios been a little bit up and down. I think I like this team. Obviously, the power they can slug, especially bringing a Moreno kid up who's been hitting the tar off the baseball in the minor leagues. I think this team's really solid going forward. They need to get healthy. George Springer's played well for them as well.
Mm,
So, I mean, it's all contributing right now. At the top of the lineup, they're getting on base, they're driving in runs, and their pitching's been pretty solid as of late too, which has
mm-hmm.
contributed to this win streak. They just got to keep beating up on these bad teams.
Exactly. That definitely think playing the not so good teams can give a team a lot of confidence, and I think that's what has happened for the Toronto Blue Jays. What I want to focus on with the Blue Jays is that their offense has stepped it up tremendously. In the last 13, 14, 15 games, they have led the league in a lot of the main hitting categories. For example, they lead the league in runs, hits, RBIs, batting average, and OPS. So they're hitting the snot out of the baseball right now. Their offense is clicking. Vladimir Guerrero has turned it around from a early cold start. He's starting to figure it out. He's getting hot at the right moment. Bo Bichette's cooking. All around their lineup is they're stepping up. They're doing what they're supposed to do, beat up on the bad teams, and that's what you should do if you are a team with as high as expectations as the Toronto Blue Jays. And like you said, their pitching has definitely stepped it up too. As a Yankees fan, I hate seeing Alex Manoah. He terrifies me because he kills us. He just carves us up like steak dinner every single time.
Yeah, I mean, the guy can pitch. The guy
He's,
can pitch. He's got a big belly and he can throw.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
big time there.
Speaking of teams that can pitch, the Atlanta Braves have been pitching their socks off lately. Uh, just to go over some of the things that the Braves have been doing, their pitching staff has really led them into a very nice in a hot streak right now because they're on a 10-game winning streak, and they are top five in ERA. They lead the league in just recently, I should state. Recently, they're top five in ERA. They're top five in hits allowed. They're leading the league in strikeouts in the past 15 games. Like their pitching staff has really stepped up, and it's really nice to see. I feel like their offense is clicking as well. Ronald Acuna, as he's getting back into the groove of things, he's stepping it up. Austin Riley. I mean, we saw Ozzy Albies with a big grand slam today, and a lot. I think a lot like the Toronto Blue Jays, they are beating up on some bad teams, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to play who is on your schedule. So it is a good thing that the Braves are beating up on these bad teams, and if you look at the standings there in the in the NL East, the Braves are picking up some ground on the Mets.
They are, and I mean, this is the June month of June for the Mets. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
is where it really just comes around, the June swoon. I mean, my buddy Gus Ramsey, program director at Full Sail University, he said it's like, hey, as a Mets fan, April, May, we love it.
I
June
tell you,
comes around
I
and
say
it's
it
the
all the
June
time.
swoon. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
it always happens. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it's strange how that works. But the Braves are playing great baseball. That's the main topic here. And you mentioned the pitching staff. It's about time. I'll be honest here. It's about time that we've seen this pitching staff. And I'm not talking about Max Fried or Charlie Morton or some of the veterans on that staff.
Yeah.
I'm talking Kyle Wright, Ian Anderson, those young guys that they've been grooming for a while. I mean, a lot of those pitchers were led their minor league system, whether it's Tukey Toussaint, Kobe Allard, who they had to deal, Luis Gohara, like so many guys in their system over the last few years. These pitchers are going to be in the rotation. Sean Newcomb, be in the rotation. These guys haven't been in the rotation. They've sucked. They've ended up being big time busts. Half of them are out of the league now. But the real good guys have been stepping up. Kyle Wright, Ian Anderson, a couple others. Kyle Moeller, a lefty in the minor leagues right now, could potentially get a call here soon. I mean, they have nice young pitching, and then you mix that with the veterans on the staff already, potentially get a Mike Soroka back in the second half. That'd be big time for the rotation. But to your point about Ronald Acuna Jr., bring it back. I mean, that guy has played great baseball. And I wanted to bring up a point on Acuna. We talked about earlier of Cody Bellinger and also Christian Yelich. The 2020 year for Acuna, he hit 250. That's a bad year for Acuna, right? From 293 to 280, 250. Then you think, okay, last year he's killing the game, right? He's back to who he is. Tears his ACL. I was waiting to see which Ronald Acuna we got this year. This is a guy who's coming out hitting tanks. 6 bombs, hitting over 320, has 11 stolen bases in 30 games. I mean, this guy's like, screw an ACL. I'm taking over this team and I'm winning baseball games. And he's fired up. He's playing great. Ozzy, I mean, I love their relationship. Those guys just go at it. I mean, they're just so fun to watch, that Braves team. And they're playing winning baseball. They won 10 in a row. And just as they said in Moneyball, we're going for 20. We're going for 20. So hopefully they can get there. But the Braves are playing winning ball right now, and I like them.
They are, and like you said, Ronald Acuna, he's one of the most exciting players in baseball. If he didn't get hurt last year, he was probably on track to win the MVP. Like, he was playing at that type of level. He is he's a 40-40 type of guy. That's who he is. I think one day he'll be able to achieve it. And I think he's going to win multiple MVPs because he's just that talented. He's lived up to all the hype of being a number one prospect, and he's definitely one of the main reasons why the Braves are rolling right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, this past week, MLB came out with the All-Star fan voting All-Star ballots, and we're gonna check out our list here. Dylan, I'm interested to see and hear your All-Star takes. What's that looking like?
All right, so I'm gonna lead it off the top, and I'm gonna start at first base, and I'm gonna go with a young guy. I love like underdog stories, but obviously I gotta understand, like, these guys are big league players who are trying to make the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, what league?
Yeah, I'm starting with the American League, and I'm starting at first base. I'm going Ty France. I think that guy deserves an All-Star game. I mean, he's hitting 330 on the year, 9 bombs, 38 runs driven in on a Seattle team that's had so much expectations, man. Like, if you're, I said it before on this show, like, Seattle, the way DePoto's just, he's traded everybody. He's going all in just to make the playoffs. And Ty France has done a great job at least getting them to that, to win it, playing winning baseball, because he's hitting 330. The 9 homers is nice. His on-base average is 406, best in his career. I think that's a nice pick over there at first base in the American League. It's not a deep pool. If you look at a couple other guys in that area, I think Ty France is a great pick for first base. Do you want me to go into the rest of my team, or did you want to pick for first base?
Just run it through. Just run it through.
Second one, I like, every team needs an all-star, right? And I know this kind of defeats my point here, but I'm going Andres Jimenez at second base, the Cleveland Guardians second baseman. 7 bombs on the year. Is an uptick in power. This is a guy who doesn't have a lot of power. 7 bombs, 303 average. He's only struck out 36 times across 162 plate appearances. It's a guy who puts the ball in play. He gets on base, and he's got 4 stolen bases as well. I think he's an underrated ball player right now. And third base, you know how much I love Rafael Devers. First episode, I basically, for lack of a better term, not going to go there. Let's just say I'm gonna go with Jose Ramirez, switch hitter, sticking with the Guardians. I think that guy is very good, and one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. I'd also say Xander Bogaerts. He's my shortstop on the American League. Austin Hayes is having a fantastic year out in Baltimore. I think he deserves a
A
all-star
start?
bid. A start, yeah, 291, 7 bombs. Get in line here, kid.
Mm,
I mean, he's having a great year. I think Austin
okay.
Hayes, Aaron Judge, obviously, like that's the biggest lock I've ever seen on a ballot in my entire life. Um, Aaron Judge, Austin Hayes, Mike Trout's my other outfielder. I think even with this slump, he's still having a great year, and Mike
Yeah.
Trout's just the best player in baseball. Catcher was tough. I looked at Alejandro Kirk. I looked at Jose Trevino. I went Jonah Heim. Every team needs an all-star. Texas, you better not throw John Gray in there. You better not throw anybody else in there. Jonah Heim is a nice switch hitting catcher. I like him a lot. He's having a great year.
That's
And
what a
DH
bench
is
is for.
Jordan Alvarez.
That's what a bench is for.
No, that's what a
Put the
starter
sucky
is.
teams. Put the sucky teams who don't deserve a starter. Just give them a player on the bench.
Do you think he deserves to start? Because he has 7 home runs. He's hitting 262, 19 RBIs. I mean, from a catcher position that doesn't produce a lot of offense, this is a young guy who was a 4th-round pick in the MLB draft. He ended up getting selected, I believe it was by Oakland. He was traded, and a couple other places he ended up going. I mean, I like Jonah Heim. He's having a good
All
year.
right. All right. All right. Well, let me give you my AL takes, and then you could do, and then we could do NL. All right. So my AL All Stars for this year. At first base, I got Ty France. Easy. That's an easy
Nice.
lock. Second base, Andres Jimenez. Just like you. We're clicking
Wow.
here. We're side by side here. At third base, I got Rafael Devers.
There.
I got respect.
I will never
respect.
disagree.
Respect. Just gotta respect that man. He's been so good. At shortstop, I got Tim Anderson. That man can just hit. He's a hitting machine. 356, 5 home runs, OPS
Yeah.
of 896. That's pretty good. All right, at catcher, this is where you're out of bounds a little bit. Jose Trevino. He's been the best catcher in baseball, defensively and hit wise. He's been very good. Outfield, I got Andrew Benintendi, Aaron Judge, and Tyler Ward. That's a lock right there. Oh, and designated hitter, JD Martinez.
JD, okay, he's got an high averages. Home run isn't. He doesn't have a lot of bombs this year, but still,
Doubles though.
yeah, he's a doubles
hits.
machine. He's taken a page in the book of his former Tigers teammate Nick Castellanos with his doubles he's hit this year. But
Yeah.
I question why no Mike Trout.
Mike Trout.
Yeah,
Okay, this is my criteria. I did it on most deserving. This isn't a popularity contest for me. This
Okay.
is on most deserving. I probably should have stated that before. But
Okay.
that's my criteria. Most deserving.
did you want to get over to the NL?
Let's do it.
I mean, I did the thing here. I actually screw that, man. Screw that. I'm going in on Trevino. Jose Trevino. He's having a great year, right? Like legit, he's been solid. Is this one of those years where you're like, oh, like when you go back 10, 20 years from now, you're sitting around, you're sitting in front of a TV, you're on the phone with me. 20 years from now, you're like, hey man, oh, let's play a game. Let's try to guess the 2022 All-Star team. Holy crap! Remember that year Jose Trevino was a starter? Like that, I don't think that's accurate.
Like,
And I know I got
listen,
Jonah Heim on mine, but still, like
listen, okay, but who the catchers in the AL? It's not deep.
it's not.
deep.
There's no catcher in the AL. I could
That's
catch
why-
for the ALs
That's
right
why
now.
this is a popularity contest. Now, do I think
Yeah.
Trevino will get it? I don't. I think somebody like Salvador Perez will probably get it over him. But
Okay.
I'm going off most deserving. It's Jose Trevino.
Yeah, he's put together a heck of a year. I'd
Yeah.
agree there.
All right, let's bounce to.
I know
the
I got
NL.
Heim, but still. NL, Paul Goldschmidt, first base. I mean, is there any other easier lock? I mean,
That's a
maybe
lock.
you discuss. There was someone else. I can't remember
Pete
off the top
Alonso?
of my head. Paul Goldschmidt. Yeah, Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
Pete deserves it too. I mean, that's a toss. I'd honestly say it's a toss up. I'll go Paul Goldschmidt, second base, Jazz Chisholm. Hell of a year, man. Tip my cap. Start at second base. Third base, Manny Machado. Very tough. Nolan Arenado having another great year as well. Shortstop, this is where I threw my curveball. And I know that every team needs an all-star. I'm going to say this is not good because, I mean, Trey Turner deserves it, right? Trey Turner deserves it.
No.
I'm throwing Nico Horner in here. Nico Horner's hitting 288 on the year, right? He's a solid shortstop. He's played great defense. He's had a couple Sports Center top 10 plays. He's flashing the leather. He hits the ball hard. He's a line drive hitter. He's not a sexy pick, but everybody needs an all-star. Nico Horner deserves to make a team.
You
Mookie
saying
Betts.
he deserves it over Trey Turner? That's what you're
I'm not
saying.
saying overtrade. I guess.
This
See,
is the
Nico.
starters, man.
Yeah, the starters. I'm all I'm saying is I'm batting hard for Nico Horner. I like the kid.
I
I think he's
know.
a great ball player. But the outfield, I
Jeez.
think, goes Mookie Betts. Starling Marte's had a great year. And my point on Marte. You can clip this if you want to. Starling Marte has gone through a lot of stuff over the last few years. I don't know if you realize his story, what he's gone through. Lost his wife a few years ago, loses his grandma, has to take a time off to be with his family and stuff. He comes back, hits a home run in his first at bat since losing his grandma. I mean, he's been through so much stuff, and he's having a fantastic year on a Mets team that's winning ball games. I think there is no one more deserving of being an NL All-Star starter than Starling Marte. I mean, he's had a fantastic year. Even in his old age, I think he's still getting it done, and he still deserves to be a starter on this team. Outfield, this is a toss-up. It's a toss-up because of how well Ronald Acuna's played the last few weeks. Like, Acuna, you could pencil him in there, right? Right now, I got Jock Peterson. This guy has played out of his mind. I mean, he obviously had that big game against the Mets where he had the 3 homers, 3 jock pops, but this is a guy who's been getting it done for a little bit. I like him a lot. Catcher Wilson Contreras. I think I'd honestly say unanimous. I don't know who else you'd put in that spot.
Yeah.
Maybe Yadier Molina in his final run. DH wise, I know a lot of people in the NL would go a different direction. I'm going Albert Pujols. I think he deserves to get a final ride. You mentioned it on TikTok a few weeks ago. He deserves a final ride. I mean, Derek Jeter started a shortstop in his final All-Star game. I mean,
I'm not mad at that.
Give Albert Pujols a spot in the DH.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. That's good. I like that. All right. So
especially first year of an NLDH.
Yeah.
Like first year of an NLDH, give it to him.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right. So the NL All-Star starters for me. At first base, I got Paul Goldschmidt. Easy. Second base, Jazz Chisholm, the coolest player in baseball. One of them. At third base, I got Manny Machado. This guy's been playing like an MVP this year. Shortstop, I got Trey Turner, not Nico Horner. At catcher, I got Wilson Contreras. A lot like you said. That's a lock. Outfield, Ronald Acuna, Mookie Betts, Starling Marte. Like you said, Marte's been solid this year. Really love what he's been doing. And then at designated hitter, I got Bryce Harper. He's playing like MVP again.
Yeah. He is. I mean, that's obviously the clear pick, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to pick a DH, it's obviously Bryce Harper. But if you want that sentimental value of getting Albert Pujols to the postseason or getting Albert Pujols to the All-Star game, give him that at bat, give him a selfie with Joe West, whatever you want to do, man. Like, get it done there. I mean, that'd be really cool to see him in his career like that.
All right. Well, hey, that's our show. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We'll be back with another show next week. Appreciate all the support. Follow us on our socials. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. See you guys next week.